Hey guys, this is going to be another wire tutorial. Got a friend that asks me if he could see how to make a wire vehicle. And I think I'm going to go over a couple of ways of doing this, but this first way is just going to be with the, basically everything is vanilla Garrysmod. So these are vanilla Garrysmod wheels, uh, and then we'll use wire to interact with those vanilla things. And the way we do that is we use the numpad output. And what that does is when this gets a input of 1, it will output its key. So basically it'll simulate like you're pressing that key on your keyboard. And the way that I have this car set up is if I press 7, this left side of the wheels will go forward, and then 4 will make them go backward. And then on the opposite side, on the right side, if I press 9, they'll go forward, and 6, they'll go backward. So what that means is if you press a combination of the two, you can make things turn in a really slow manner because I didn't set the torque high enough, but you get the idea, or the opposite way around. Same way a tank does, or it can just go forward or backward. I mean, it's a simple car, and the whole reason we're doing this is just to really show you the pod controller. So we'll just go ahead and start doing this. So what we're going to need is the pod controller. Let's grab that first. So we need vehicle control, pod controller, and, well, oops. Don't mind me getting into the seat like a moron because I'm doing it too close, and I do it again. I am not the dumbest of morons, but I am pretty great. Anyway, place it down and then do as I just did. I right-clicked it and right-click the seat, and it says linked entity. What that means is this pod controller now will monitor this pod and will affect this pod. So if you're in the pod, the outputs on this will vary depending on whoever's in there doing whatever. So if you're in there and you're pressing W, this will show that you're pressing W. Things like that. Very, very useful. It's probably one of the more used things with wire. And in this tutorial, at least in this part of it, we will show you how to control these wheels in that manner. So that way you don't always have to be relying on your keyboard. Other people can jump in here and control this. And it's a little bit more intuitive than having to press the weird combinations like I was saying, like 7 and 6 to turn right and 9 and 4 to turn left. You just use WSD. It's just a little easier, more, like I said, more intuitive. So what we're going to do is we're going to need 4 of these, all to simulate the same buttons we have as the wheels. And just like the last tutorial, I've kind of forgotten how to use gates. Not forgotten, just like I haven't done it for so long, I forget what I'm doing. It's not as intuitive as it used to be for me, so be patient if I have to end up doing things over. So once we get all these down, there's one for everything, and it's dumb because they show like the actual function of the numpad, not the numpad number. So like this is key P home, which is keypad 7. You know, so I don't know, it's kind of stupid, but it's 7, 4, 9, and 6. I oriented them in a way that helps me understand what I'm doing. That's what a lot of people generally do with wire, is when you get a lot of chips, if you understand what those chips do just by them being the chip, great. But for like me, I need a little bit more visual aspect to it to remember what things are, and this is just like a simple way, like orienting my chips in a orderly fashion. So what we're going to do is we can't just wire these directly to this because there needs to be a little bit of logic to get these to work properly. If we were just to wire up these two, which is, again, 7 and 9, straight to W, great. But what happens when we need to turn? So say if we need to turn right, we need this one and this one. But seeing as these only have one input, we can't wire them to multiple things. So I can't wire this to W and to D. So what we need is an add gate. Add gates, all they do is add multiple values together, and in this situation is exactly what we need. So I'm going to add an add gate for every one of these and just slap them right next to each other like that. So now what we're going to do is, according to the different logic of what we need, we can wire each one of these add gates up. So for this number, for 7, we're going to need this to activate every time we press W and D. So let's wire the add gate to W and D. Let's go here, 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 W, and B, here, 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 to D. That's W and D. And then wire this to this. And then we're going to do that, almost the same thing, but with this one. But instead of W and D, this one's going to be W and A. So here, here, so that's wired to the add gate. Add gate's A to the W, and it's B to the A. So that's W and A, or excuse me, 7 and 9 wired up. So these will both have their forwards wired up, but these are the backwards, so we need to get the backwards wired up as well. So with 4, this is representing our 4. Obviously you need to wire it to here, and might as well just wire this one while we're at it. We're going to wire the 4 up to S and A. So it's kind of the opposite of these. Well, I mean, it is the opposite. So A, go here, 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 S, and then the B to, what did I say, S and A? Yes. Anyway, and then this one's obviously going to be S, Y the B, to the D. There we go. That is completely wired up. What that'll do now is, if I get in there, into that pod, if I press W, yay, we're going forward. If I press S, we will start to go backward. Yay! Now if I press D, actually let's do it while we're going forward. We'll start turning right. If I press A, start turning left. Sorry, that's so subtle. Again, I didn't make the wheel to work high enough. Yeah, there you go. Now anyone that sits in that chair and presses WASD, they can control it, which is freaking good. That was one of the first things I learned how to do with Wire, and it is so nice being able to do that. I mean, anyone can drive this. You can have it set up to your wheels, to the regular vanilla Garrysmod wheels, and it'll work. It'll work just fine. So that's the regular, just simple vanilla interaction. That's how you get vanilla things to work with Garrysmod if they're not already somehow working with it. You just use numpad outputs. Remember that. It's an output. Alright, so let's do the same thing, but with the wire wheels. And the wire wheels are almost the exact same. Actually, they really are the exact same, so I'm going to use most everything here. Right? No. They're not the exact. We need negate tools. Anyway, we'll show you here in a second. I will show you. So let me get ahead and remove these. I'm going to remove these. Oops, not debug. Actually, that's something I should show you too, is debug. Maybe get to that in here in a second. Anyway, then we're going to go to physics. Force? Yeah, wheel. 1, -1. Yeah, let's do 3000 friction. Yeah, that's actually all good right there. Slap those on. The only difference with the wire wheels is there is no setting up the button. Obviously there's no button input here. It's all done through the logic of the values. But you still have to make sure they're all going the right direction. So these two need to be switched because that's forward, not that way. These two always need to be switched on that side. Anyway, so let's see. Now, I didn't think about this too much before I did it. Oh, the other one I kind of thought it through before I started making the, recording. But it should all pretty much be the same, except for these back here need NOT gates. Right? I think so. And the way a NOT gate works, let's go to logic, find the NOT, is if it gets a value of 1, it'll, or no, not a NOT gate, an invert gate, or no, that is an invert gate. Wait. So again, like I was saying, I forget sometimes because it's been a minute. So if this is 1, it's going to invert it to... Oh no, that's 0 and it's inverting to 1. No, that's not what we need. We need the other one, which I always forget what it's called. I don't think it's a logic. I think it's arithmetic. It's called negate. Yeah, there it is, negate. So just to clarify here, so I don't lose you, the logic NOT gate will take the 0. Anything, if it's 0, it'll turn it to 1. If it's 1, it'll turn it to 0. That's not what we want right now. What we want is arithmetic negate. What that does, it takes any positive value and changes it negative and vice versa. So what we want to do, because the way these wheels work, if you get a value of 1, they rotate forward. If you get a value of 0, a negative 1, they rotate backward. So we want these to go backward at some point. So we obviously need a negate chip. And I just realized I think we're going to even need more add chips. Yeah, we are. Wait, no? Yeah, we're add chips as well. Because we're going to need to add these rear with the front. Really? Right? Yeah. Anyway, just throw these on there. If I mess up here, we'll find out soon. Grab a wire. We're gonna wire those up. So those are gonna go backward. Yeah. So we're gonna also need another set of add chips. We'll throw those down here. So what this is gonna do, we already have the same kind of logic that we had set up previously. So the WASD all is the same logic, all still there. But we're taking account for now we have these wheels. So we're going to need to get a couple more add gates. Obviously we have the negate to change these reverse values to negative instead of positive. So we actually reverse. And then we're going to need to add all those values together. So we need another add gate. Actually, couldn't we just put it to that? We could technically use the add gates that we already have up here, but I'm just going to use these because I think having it broken up a little bit more to understand it easier is probably going to be a good thing. So yeah. And as I've said before, there are a million ways to wire things. You do things totally different. It comes down to the player and how they remember things. But this is just going to show you how to do it. It's getting your feet wet with gates. It's showing you how the input-output system can be manipulated with simple logic. And there. Okay, so what I did is I wired the A to the negate and the B to the first add. So this now will have all the logic for these sets of wheels. So now I can wire these to here, but I'm going to do that here in a second. And so this one also is wired to the negate and the other add. So this one now has the logic to control these. Now I could just wire these to go straight to, or wait. Speed mod brake go. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just the go. I could wire the go straight to these, but as you can see there's a wire there, and if this was to start to rotate, you know, oh, you can't even hardly see that, but the wire moves with it. It's just kind of ugly looking. So I'm going to do, oh freaking crap. There's that thing I always do that I said in the last video. I end up pressing Z to undo because I'm so used to it. I'm going to make my wires invisible for the wheels. Oh, whoops. Just so you don't see those wires sticking out all hideous looking. Looks a little neater. Makes things tidy. There we go. So what I'm going to do is go to my wire, change that to 0. And what that does is it makes it look also wireless, even though it's not. You just physically can't see it. So, and then this one to this one, this one to this one, and this one to this one. So if we did this correctly, it should work, but I'm also going to show you this debugger tool, which is found down in Tools. Debugger. What this does is when you click it on something, as you can see, this is also, I was saying in the last tutorial, you can't really ever see outputs. This is one of the instances you can. If you get the debugger tool out, you can see all the inputs and outputs. Inputs on the left, outputs on the right. If you click, see how it brought up a huge list of things there on the left-hand side? Those are all the inputs and outputs of that pod controller right now. So you'll be able to see what's going on. It's a good way of debugging, hence why it's called the debugger tool. So if I get in this right now, I can't really point at, oh, I guess I can point at it. You'll see a couple of things changing as I'm sitting here. One thing to note is, where is it at? Active. Active down here is set to 1. Hopefully you can see that. That's a little bit small. I don't know if YouTube's going to compress this to the point where you can't see that, but I'll try to hold the camera still so it shouldn't do that. It's obviously, I'm in the chair, so the active changed to 1. If I get out, it's 0. So it changes in real time and you can see all the different things. So if I hit, if you look, W is behind this thing here. If I hit W, it turns on. It turns to 1. And you can see all my wheels are moving. So that seems like they're all wired together. If I hit A is now on. Now it's off. S, or excuse me, D, on, off. S, on, off. Sweet. So if we did the logic correctly, geez, quit spinning. If I hit W, oh, we went forward. If I hit D, or excuse me, S, oh, I went backward. Now here's the real kicker. Did we wire it correctly for turning? We did. And it's got more torque so we can actually turn. And then A. Sweet! So there we go. Simple wire car. That's exactly how you use pod controller to make wire wheels work with just a little bit of logic. Don't be too afraid to test things with gates. Gates are a very powerful tool. Really the only thing more powerful than gates is expression. Expression can do all the same thing gates can, but a little bit more, and a lot faster, and a lot neater, but gates are very powerful. And they're fun. I honestly, this is like nostalgia road for me. I used to do everything in gates, and I haven't for a long time, so this is bringing back memories for me. It's actually quite enjoyable. It's satisfying seeing all those wires. But anyway, so if you guys want to see more or whatnot, you can request it, and maybe I'll do it. I mean, I'm not huge about making these tutorials. I do them just to help people. So, but if it's something I feel like doing or whatever, and you know someone requests enough, then I'll do it. But hopefully you learned a few things. Oh, and actually let's just press R on that debugger so it goes away. Hopefully you learned a little bit. Hopefully I didn't go too fast and I hit on the points that needed to be hit on. If there's any confusion or anything, let me know. And yeah, enjoy and happy wiring.